Welcome to another episode of the UnitedFanZone. Unfortunately, it is just me tonight. Just wanted to do a quick stream, get some views on the game for the weekend. So I just wanted to start United getting their first game in 5, a win. So I know we're all happy about that. Also, passion and the touching points tonight is like the passion from the staff. Rasmus Hoilund looking good, but other than that, let's start with the Man United win. I thought the first 15 minutes was not our normal selves. I think we were pretty what's the word for it, what we've been seeing the rest of the season from Manchester United. I think that we came out of the gates pretty slow, weren't really connecting as a team. But I think once after that 20 minutes got going, I think we really opened up the game. Again, I think Rasmus Hoilund was fantastic this weekend. 𝙈𝙊𝙍 had quite a few chances, that he should have taken himself. But overall, I think it was a pretty good performance from Manchester United. One of the things that I'm kind of wanting to see here is United kicking on from this, making a run of games. We have Fenerbahçe on Thursday. It's going to be a difficult one, especially with Fred and some of the other players that Man United have been here, and at least not is Mourinho. Now, we all know that Mourinho plays defensive football. So I think that's going to be kind of difficult for Man United to break down. Hopefully we can kick on with that one. But overall, I think this weekend was a good starting point. 𝗕𝗏 was fantastic, I believe. The best defender. I think Martinez worked well out on the left from a position that he's not used to. And one of the big things for me was really watching 𝗦𝗶𝗴hi come back on after everything else, that we could have done. I know, Casey, I appreciate it, man. I wanted to kind of jump in and kind of try this by myself. It's something that I've been wanting to do for a while. When Mikey's not available and you guys are not available, I've kind of wanting to try and do it myself. So this is definitely something that I'm going to get used to. It's difficult by yourself because I'm a very person that, feeds off of another person. And doing it by myself isn't something that naturally comes to me. But this is definitely something that I've been wanting to do. I thought the second half we found a way to play at our own pace. We did. And I think it was great being able to have that in the second half. Hopefully we can see that moving on. Through the rest of the games. Like I said, Fenerbahçe, I don't want Man United to come into this game completely capitulate and ended up losing the game, and then we're back to square one when it comes to confidence. I want to see United now moving on, like getting Fenerbahçe, getting the West Ham game of the weekend. Getting 2 wins here out of the next 2 games is highly important for Manchester United season, not just for Ten Hag himself, but for Man United as a team. Now, if we can't go into this game and kind of figure out that, hey, this is something we can't do. We win a game, then lose, and we're back to square one. This is something that definitely needs to be, for me, needs to start kicking on and stuff like that. So, I think it's been great. I don't know what anyone else in the chat. I see there's 3 of us in here right now. What anyone else thinks kind of the game. But yeah, definitely the breakdown. You could clearly see that United's attackers are playing very different game. 𝗕𝗏𝗏 van Nistelrooy is clearly having an impact on the team here. I just want them to win this game. Jose is going to try and expose us, and then he's going to have a cheeky interview, which I do not want to experience. I hope for the fan base that they take the match seriously. I do too. And I think if we can get a win, especially away in Fenerbahçe, it's going to be a great start for Man United. I think, especially going into West Ham. West Ham right now are not exactly thriving. I know they've got a lot of new players just like us, but this is definitely a game that we should be winning, in my eyes, especially off the back of what we've seen this weekend. So that's definitely there for me. I could definitely see that. And again, I don't want to see Jose Mourinho coming out and taking another pop at Man United like he's used to. Because he says he loves Man United, but he's always willing to have a cheeky dig at Man United. Other than that, what we can say for the weekend, Garnacho took his time. I think he was wasteful in some of his chances. Rasmus Hoilund, was bullying the defenders, managed to get around them in a lot of the areas, and I think that was great to see from him. It's something we haven't seen in a little while from him. And I think, again, Ruud van Nistelrooy is having a great impact on him. So I think that if he can continue to learn from Ruud van Nistelrooy, I think, this is definitely something that we could see. Because I've said in the past, I don't see Rasmus Hoilund scoring 20, 25 goals a season. But if he can continue to learn and prove me wrong, especially underneath Ruud van Nistelrooy, then that's definitely something I want to see. I was disappointed to see him come off, especially for Ząrski, because Ząrski right now is not having a good start to Manchester United. I know he scored in his debut, but some of the chances he is missing right now are, worrying for me. That one where he tried to take it on his right, I'm not sure why he didn't just put that away with his left. That would have been a nice, easy tap in for him. I know it was called a foul, but the miss from Eriksen, he should have still put that in the back of the net, even if it had come back. How do I feel about Rashford on the right? I think he offers a lot more on the right. It's a hard one because I personally think Garnacho is a right winger. I don't think Garnacho plays best on the left. I know he scored the goal this weekend on the left. I know he started on the left. That's where he was, kind of thriving on the left. But overall, from previous games and stuff like that, I think Garnacho he plays better on the right. We saw that in the FA Cup final. How well he played over there on the right. I think most of his games where he plays well is on the right hand side. So I know, I think it's a good thing that he offered a lot on the right hand side, because we can interchange them during the game, like 30 minutes they swap, 50 minutes they swap, keep swapping throughout the game, because it gives a lot more worry to the their left back and their right back, because they've done the whole game, they're working with Garnacho over there, they're trying to figure him out, and then all of a sudden you swap. It might give him some more confidence. I know personally he doesn't like it. I know Rashford doesn't like being on the right. He's always said that he wants to be on the left. I don't think he likes being up front either. As much as, he does well up front, but we have the two strikers now. So for me, I think putting him on the right, it can't be any worse than what he's playing on the left. I know he put the cross in for Garnacho to get on the end of that ball. That was a great goal. And to be perfectly honest, it was probably his hardest chance of the game. And he ended up putting it away, which was great. So for Rashford, I think swapping them, him and Garnacho, putting them, in between. Another talking point that I wanted to point out real quick from throughout the game is Ugarte. Ugarte played, throughout in midweek for Uruguay. And the third game in a row that he started off the bench, we brought him on for 5-10 minutes this week. I think he played well in that 10 minutes. There was that run where he got around 2 or 3 midfielders and ended up running up midfield. So I'm not sure I don't think Ten Hag likes him. I think there's an issue there. I'm not sure what's going on. But I don't think, I don't think Ten Hag likes Ugarte. I think he's still mad that, Scott McTominay went. I personally don't understand the whole McTominay thing. At the end of the day, yes, he is doing okay over in Italy. but it is the Italian league. You can't compare the Italian league to the Premier League. I think we do miss some of the goals that he was scoring. But I was reminded of this the other day with McTominay, and last season he ended up scoring a lot of important goals for Manchester United to the point that we could have ended up in 10th, 11th place if it wasn't for him. How many times has this guy given away goals? With his lack of playing in midfield, lack of being able to turn around and deal with it, lack of, being able to tackle in the box and giving away a penalty. So I was talking to someone about that this weekend, and I was like, I didn't really think about that. Yeah, he scored some goals last season for us, but man, if you go look at the amount of goals he gave away, or free kicks that turned into goals, or penalties that turned into goals, it's a lot more than what he scored last year. He played well and he was more advanced. Yes, so I think United need to. I've said this in the previous, ones, that I think United need to change his system. I knew he was going to come out like that again. I was watching it with a bunch of people in the bar, and I told them, everyone in the bar, watch what happens. The goalie's going to get the ball. He's going to slow it down. He's going to pass it to the defense. The defense, and then they're going to get pressured by their strikers, by their midfield. And then we're going to make mistakes. And we did the same thing in the game. We made those mistakes again. And it bothers me that he will not make a change. I know we played well. But how much are we going to do this with Ten Hag, where I'm still Ten Hag out? I hope I'm going to be proved wrong, and I hope these next two games can go semblance of a way of showing me that I'm wrong with Ten Hag. But I don't want Ten Hag. I don't want Ten Hag in. I'm fully Ten Hag out. I think he's refusing to change any of the way he plays. I think that 𝗕𝗏𝗏 this weekend was fantastic. I will give credit to this. Ten Hag got a yellow card. Does he watch this show? I'm not sure. I don't think so. But, it's something that I've been crying out for Ten Hag to do for a long time, is be on that sideline and give some passion and give some guidance. And every time the camera panned to him this weekend, he was standing up outside of the box, or in the little box area that he's supposed to be in. Love that. Absolutely loved that from Ten Hag, and I think the rest of the staff too were giving more passion. 𝗕𝗏𝗏 was, extremely frustrated. But I'm gonna say this: when the goal happened, Brentford's goal happened, I was extremely pissed off with the referee. At the end of the day, why would you take our most important defender at the time, especially the tallest defender at the time, who was going to be marking the player that scored? Why would you take him off with 30 seconds to go? We all knew this was the last corner before the half. But looking back at it and watching the game again, how many times did Man United's medical staff, and I've seen this a lot. I've watched United for a long time. I've watched football for a long time. Why did the medical staff not put some Vaseline or whatever they do, boxers put the Vaseline on, and then wrap his head and got him through till halftime? Why didn't they do that? Because it's happened in the past where you just, millions of times, a little bit of Vaseline in there, wrap it around with some gauze, get him through till halftime. Then he wouldn't have had to come off 3 times in that game to get that sorted. And that really bothers me from Man United's medical staff, that you simply can't put some Vaseline and put a bandage on it until halftime. But no, you wanted to, put some Vaseline in it and send him out on the pitch, and again and again and again, he had to keep coming out of the game. I was extremely frustrated with that from Manchester United's medical staff. I couldn't agree more with you about Ten Hag. I don't believe he has a Premier League level coach, but I'm happy to be proven wrong. Me too. I hope he proves us wrong. I've done a lot of looking back in the last couple of weeks, watching his first season, watching his second season. His first season, you look at Liverpool, they were horrendous at times under Klopp. I think that if they had have had a good season like they did towards the end of the season, and they almost caught us, to be honest with you, and Newcastle were only a couple of points behind us. If Newcastle had won a couple more games, and Newcastle had won one more game, United would have finished 5th, not in 3rd. And I know we won the Carabao Cup, but we all know that's because Newcastle ended up knocking Man City out. Otherwise, we wouldn't have won it then. Also, Newcastle's goalie was out. There's a lot that goes into a season, and I think United were fortunate in Ten Hag's season to finish 3rd and come away with the Carabao Cup. Second season, we started to see the drop off in the play. I know that we ended up getting a lot of injuries going along with that, and it's just we were just like, oh, he finished 3rd, so we were kind of blaming it on the injuries. I've started to see for the last 3 years his refusal to change any tactics, to not be on the sideline. The comments that are coming out about his coaching in the backroom staff. 𝗦𝗶𝗴ih has talked a lot about it. We play amazing in training, but when it comes to game time, well, that only goes to show that it's the coach who is supposed to transition from the practice to the game. So if it's not getting along, if something's going wrong, then it's got to be on the coach. And I think the coach is not doing very well with that, and I don't understand why. I know the Premier League might be a little bit tough for him, or it's completely different from the Eredivisie, but he managed to work with those players and get it from training to the pitch. What's going on with this? Why isn't it going from the training to the pitch? And that's what 𝗦𝗶𝗴ih was saying, like, hey, we're amazing in training, but we can't seem to figure it out. I don't understand. You've had, this is your, we're at 3.5 years now. We're in November, or almost in November. So you've had time to figure this out. And I get that you've had players that you don't want. I know that you've had to deal with a Ronaldo situation. I know you've had to deal with a Sancho situation. And that's on Chelsea now. At the end of the day, he's not playing well at Chelsea. So you've dealt well with those situations, but what you haven't dealt with is getting those players playing well in training and getting them playing well in games. And I'm not quite sure it's you now or whether it's Ruud now, because you could clearly see 𝗕𝗓𝙁 standing up, yelling at the players, telling them to do this. Fletcher's getting into fights in the tunnel at halftime, and now he's looking at a suspension. So where's this from you, the coach? And that's what I'm kind of, I'm worried about with Ten Hag. That is this an influence of 𝗕𝗓𝙁? Because we played well at the weekend. We're very dominant in areas, and Brentford's not an easy team to play against. I know they've lost a lot of their players, but they're still not an easy team to play against. They've been in the Premier League for a long time. They know what they're doing. They have a great coach in Frank. I think he could be a coach for United one day. But is it Ruud or is it Ten Hag that's doing this? Yeah, the Fletcher thing was, I'd like to see that, and that's my biggest thing. Can that passion that we've been talking about on this show and on your show as well, Casey, the passion and the drive we want to see, and we're seeing it now. And you could see that it reflected on the players. When the players see Ruud standing there and arguing and getting mad at the officials, like they were with 𝗏 and 𝗏 kicking and screaming, the other players see that, and they see passion from their coach. They see drive. They see guidance in how they should be on the pitch when they see their staff doing it behind it. It's no different than in boxing. The boxing, if the boxer's not doing so well and comes in the corner and get a quick slap from your trainer, let's go. It's going to give them the drive and the effort to push forward with the rest of the boxing match. I'm not surprised we played amazing against ourselves in training. Every other team we play has the same success. Exactly. You know what I mean? So every team, we're playing well against ourselves, but it's kind of like, for me, it's like, who's watching our training sessions? If we're this good in training and we're terrible on the pitch, who's watching the training sessions? So that's kind of where I am with Ten Hag. I'm still Ten Hag out. I don't think he has the drive and the passion to do this. I think others are kind of pushing him to do this. Or maybe, because we said on the show last week that I would love to have been a fly on the wall to what was said in that board meeting, because something was clearly said that pushed them to have more drive and more passion on the sideline this week. And let's hope that, he could be just as good on Thursday, because, you're coming up against a manager who is, regarded as one of the greatest of all time. He was very successful. I don't care what anyone says. I think he was a successful manager at Man United, Mourinho. He won us the Europa League. He won us the Carabao Cup. We did the double that season. Got us back into the Champions League. We finished second under him. So for anyone to say Mourinho wasn't a success at Man United, I don't understand unless you're referring to Fergie days, then I don't understand what you mean by success. Other than that, I just wanted to kind of again, we touch on Hoilund. I think Hoilund has been fantastic with the Ruud situation. He came out with his comments that he's been learning a lot from 𝗕𝙁𝙍𝙀, and that he's been working very well with him. That finish was very 𝗕𝙁𝙍𝙀, taking it on the right and just dinking it over the goalie. It was a very, very difficult finish. To get it in from that angle, you could clearly see the defender that was coming on, so you had to get just the right amount of pace and just the right amount of lift to get that in. I think it was a fantastic goal. I'm looking forward to seeing if he can do the same with 𝙁𝙍𝙀. Excuse me. I think 𝙁𝙍𝙀, I'm not sure what's going on. That his touch, when he's dropping back in the 10, he's making the players better. But we don't need that right now so much as we need goals. Goals have been an issue for Man United for a long time now. Last season we finished with minus goal difference. We're a minus goal difference again now. So for me, I as much as I want to see that dropping back and pushing the forward and creating more space, you're on the pitch to be a striker, man. And if you're not scoring goals, what are you doing on the pitch? I know that Rasmus Hoilund can go through a long periods of time without scoring a goal too, and it's difficult because I really think that Man United in January need to go out and get a kind of 27, 28-year-old guy who is maybe established in the Premier League, who can come in when Rasmus is probably injured. I don't know who this could be. I don't know who is out there for this to happen, but United need to start scoring goals. Arsenal, they got Raheem Sterling. I'm glad that we didn't get him because he was actually atrocious this weekend. But I don't see anybody out there that, that can be scoring all these goals for Man United. But we look at Arsenal, and most of their goals come from the wings. So I'm not sure kind of where we're going to get the goals from. We should have had 4 or 5 this weekend. I want to see a Man United scoring. Conceding. That goal for me was just a wash. We were down to 10 men. Our tallest and best defender for me was off the field. So I'm not kind of sure. Danny Welbeck. Yes, please, let's bring Danny Welbeck back. 𝙁𝙍𝙀 needs to be a little bit more selfish. Yes, but I'm also seeing a side of him like this weekend where I'm not quite sure what he is. Like his shooting isn't great. Getting I think he only scored 15 goals last season in a league that's a lot less than this one. So I don't I'm not quite sure what we're gonna. Is he a guy for the future because he's 23 years old? Is he for the future, or is the future now for him? I know that, you know, someone's prime is around 26, but if you're 23 years old and you're only scoring 15 goals a season, you're supposed to be a striker. There's something wrong. Like, why did we spend I believe it was a 50 million, 45 on him? I'm not sure who's signing this was. Was it Ten Hag's? Because I don't believe Ruud van Nistelrooy. If Ruud van Nistelrooy was manager, I don't think 𝙈𝙀𝙀 would be at Man United right now. I think Ruud knows enough to see a striker when he sees one. I think he's earned the right to say, go. He's not a striker. But I just don't see 𝙈𝙀𝙀 getting more than 10 goals this season, and that's a problem as a backup striker. Considering Rasmus Hoilund's injury list, that I kind of see it as a kind of a problem. So I'm not sure what you guys think. I think 𝗕𝗓𝙈𝙊𝙀𝙀 𝗈𝙗𝐵𝑎ck coming back and doing a job would be pretty good for Man United. I want to touch on the women's team this weekend. A 1-1 draw from the women's team. I know that it's something that I've been learning a lot about with the women's team. I think we will be good to go there soon on a watch along. I just want to get a little bit more knowledge about the game from the women's team. So I've never really watched it before this season, and it's definitely something this channel wants to do. Fenerbahçe game, I'm going to keep, like I said, I'm going to keep this one short because it's only me today. I think, for me, United go out there and win 3-1 against Fenerbahçe. I think the weekend has given Man United some confidence. I hope it's given us some confidence, should I say. So I think United will go out there, win 3-1. I'm not sure. Casey, what do you think? Do you think we can push on after the weekend and get a win against Fenerbahçe or anybody else? The women are good to watch. It's become something that I've started to watch a lot more. And not just because they're doing so well. It's definitely something that I've never really kind of thought about watching before. Not because they're women or anything. I just so driven on watching Manchester United men's team, and I think over the last couple of years of watching Manchester United and how bad they've played and how they've kind of letting us down. I think watching the women's team and how much they've lost in the last season. They've lost some of their best players, some of the best players in the game, definitely one of the best goalies in the game, and then also being forced out the dressing room, and to go ahead and put a season in like they're doing so far, I think it's been a really eye-opener for the men to kind of watch and show, hey, we've gone through all this adversity this year, and we're out there winning. Why are you guys not winning? So, and it's a new team for the Man United too, for the women's team, just like the men's team, but the women seem to be getting through it, where the men are struggling. So maybe some more kind of passion and drive, maybe make the men go watch the women's team and cheer them on and watch them do it. Maybe that'll kind of give some oomph to the men's team. I'm not quite sure, but that's kind of where I'm at. I think United win. Casey saying Man United win 3-2. So with that being said, I was going to keep it for a half-hour show. Tomorrow night there's going to be me and Casey back on those back on our show on Tuesday, which will be at 10 p.m. Eastern time, 7 Western time. I'll put a link below in the description for that one tomorrow. Please check in, and we'll see you tomorrow. Casey, I will see you tomorrow, and we'll be back on Thursday, straight after the game. Well, about an hour after the game on Thursday, just to go over that, how Man United played, and we'll get some kind of stats out there for you. I'll be as quick as I can with the stats. I know sometimes I like to rewatch the entire game. I'm not going to have a time for that one. So this one is definitely something I'm going to have to watch a little bit more at the bar. Looking forward to tomorrow. Yep, I'm looking forward to it tomorrow too, Casey. And I will see everybody on Thursday. Peace.